Hey everyone, I'm Lana and I'm 13. I want to share my story with you. It's about how dangerous it is to tell a secret on the internet. Have your life ever changed drastically? That's what happened to me. Okay, let me just tell you a few words about myself first. I'm shy. No, I'm shy. Extremely shy. I find it hard to connect to people. You see, I can only trust a few people I'm close to. I can be myself when I'm with them. There are only 3 such people in my life: my mom and dad, and my best friend Rachel. My mom and dad are like my best friends. My dad is great, and I can tell practically anything to my mom. I love them very much. Rachel is my best and only friend. We've been friends since kindergarten. When we were kids, we were very much alike, but as we grew, we became very different. Rachel is very outgoing. Truth is, she's one of the most popular kids in our grade, but we've always been friends, despite our differences. I'm so grateful to Rachel for that. Over the last couple of years, I've been keeping a horrible secret. There's this boy at school, you know? His name is Bob. He plays in a band and is into photography, and then he has this kind of smile. Okay, you know where I'm getting. I'm totally in love with Bob. I'd been dreaming about Bob noticing me once and starting up a conversation. But those were just dreams. If I could only have enough courage to talk to Bob myself. But that's just impossible. I was too afraid to even look his way. I shared this secret with Rachel and my social network accounts. I would gush to Rachel about my huge crush on Bob, send pictures I made in Photoshop. I used to Photoshop Bob and me together. Yeah, I know how ridiculous that sounds. But then something amazing happened. I brought my fave book, A Catcher in the Rye, to class. It was sitting on my desk when Bob approached me. "Bob, can you imagine?" Bob asked if I liked that book and said that he also loves it a lot. I was horribly embarrassed and could only squeeze out "It's my favorite book." And then he went, "Why haven't we been speaking more?" I was totally shocked and at a loss for words. I only shrugged, and then he said, "Okay, then I'll see you soon." Do I even have to tell you how ecstatic I was? I wanted to dance. I was so happy. I told Rachel about this, and she was happy for me too. The best day of my life. Wow. That's what I thought, but soon enough I stopped thinking of it as such. I was having dinner with my parents, and I was so happy, talking nonstop. And then I got a text from an unknown number. I was a bit surprised, but I opened it. What I saw just about floored me. I turned so pale, my mom asked me if something had happened. I told her it was nothing, and tried to act like I was okay. I'm not sure I managed it. And here's what the text was about. Attached were all my conversations with Rachel. All the silly things I said about Bob and those horrendous Photoshop pics of us. The sender said they'd forward it all to Bob if I didn't stop talking to him. You can imagine how I felt. I was seeing red, and my hands had started to shake, and I was sweating. I chewed on my fingernails, even though this habit has been gone since the age of 8. I can tell you, this was one of the most horrible evenings in my life. I was afraid to write a text to Rachel or call her, so I decided to wait till morning to tell her. The night was just plain bad. I didn't get any sleep, and kept tossing and turning, waiting for the morning to come. I wrecked my head with so many questions. Who could be so cruel to me? Why were they doing it? What happened if Bob did see that stuff? I would have probably died of shame. I wanted to cry because I was so helpless. Rachel was shocked to learn of this. We started thinking who could have done it. And Rachel wasn't afraid to act. She said some unknown hacker was targeting me, and that not so long ago, a friend of hers had got similar threats. The hacker was even blackmailing her for money. I felt even more helpless. Such a scary thought that some random person who shouldn't care about me at all could have such control of my life all of a sudden, and I couldn't even do anything. Then Rachel said that Trisha could be behind the hacker. It's just that the stolen pics were of a very particular kind. She's arrogant and self-absorbed and wanted to date Bob. And Rachel remembered the way she was looking at us when Bob spoke to me. Thank God I have Rachel. I didn't notice a thing at that moment. After that, I was constantly feeling scared. I kept receiving texts with threats and screenshots of my messages. I complied, sent the money, and didn't even look at Bob. Was it really because of someone being jealous of him? But I was suffering. After a few days, Bob approached me and asked if I wanted to walk after school. It was the hardest thing to do, but I said no. I ran out of the classroom, but caught a look Trisha was giving me. Rachel was right about her blackmailing me. I was having dinner with my parents in the evening. Mom had been trying to find out what happened for several days. She kept asking if I was feeling well, if everything was all right at school. I said it was all right. Dad tried to cheer me up, but oh, how could I when I was so constantly terrified? I would have told my mom everything, but the thing was, this hacker had not only sent me my messages about Bob, but also one where I was talking about Mom. A couple of months back, Rachel and her mom had had a fight, and she'd been ranting to me about her. I only thought to keep up the conversation and make it look like I'm sympathetic with Rachel, and I was. I had told her that my mom pisses me off sometimes, and that I'm sick of her stupid, constant stream of advice. I also wrote a few other things, the kind I don't even want to remember. I've already said that my mom is my best friend, and it is so. I don't even know what's got into me and why I wrote those things. I regretted doing it almost immediately, and I was sick at the thought of Mom reading them. I was so ashamed of myself. Now I realize I should have explained to Mom. She would have understood, but I was too distraught to think straight. Besides, Rachel said I should, for the moment, go with what the blackmailer wanted. She said they would just forget about me and all would be well. And indeed, after a time filled with threats and constant texts, they stopped. I was so happy. I thought they just grew tired of this stupid game, and they stopped tormenting me. I couldn't believe my own luck, and I shouldn't have, because the worst came next. I went to school one day to see everyone snickering at me and talking in whispers, looking at me. Rachel went to me and said that the hacker sent the entire school my messages about Bob. I wanted the floor to swallow me that very moment. I didn't know what to do, so I just ran. I was on my way out of the classroom with all those laughs and people quoting my texts around me when Bob stopped me. He asked me if I really did like him. I just stood there, ashamed. But he said that he liked me, too. And he'd always thought I was too pretty and smart for the likes of him. At first, his words didn't even register with me. But then he said it again. Oh, goodness. He did like me. Bob liked me. But he thought me too good for him? Exactly what I'd thought about him. I was in such emotional turmoil. I felt so much fear and shame and then happiness underneath it all. I looked at Bob and told him that I liked him very much and that I regretted the silly messages. And he said if not for them, he never would have learned that I had feelings for him. No one laughed at me now, and someone even said something to cheer me up, but I didn't listen, and I was so happy. Even Trisha smiled, so I guess I was wrong about her. But then I looked at Rachel, and she looked absolutely angry. I asked her what was up, and she said that I'd got a good end of the bargain. Just for fun, I asked, "Oh, maybe it was you who did this after all." And she went, "Oh, I wish I'd hit you harder," and then ran out of the class. The truth did hit me hard. I could hardly breathe, and only kept standing because Bob was holding me. So I guess I should be really careful about who I trust with my secrets, on the net or in person. Rachel didn't even deny it, just said that I didn't deserve a guy like Bob, and that she wanted to show me my place. Now that I think back, I remember some small things, like Rachel said I shouldn't wear a ponytail because my cheeks are too plump. She said I shouldn't wear makeup to a party because I looked too plain. She always felt sorry for me because my legs are so scrawny, because no one wants to be friends with me. Now I realize that I look okay, but what Rachel kept telling me made me feel embarrassed of myself. In the evening, I told Mom and apologized for the things I wrote about her. I didn't quote them word for word, didn't want her to be upset. I made a promise to myself not to write or even think anything like that again. My mom was glad everything finally cleared up. I'm telling you, my mom is the best. It's been about 2 months now. I'm dating Bob and couldn't be happier. Rachel and I haven't been talking ever since. I wonder how I could be so wrong about her. And I shouldn't have sent any money to her hacker. It was fear making decisions for me. Fear people would know my secrets. But when they did, it wasn't as terrible as I thought it would be. I realized that anxiety boosts our fears big time. Anyways, it all worked out for the better. Now I know the truth about Rachel. I have a great boyfriend, and I feel better about myself. Have you ever gotten in situations where something that seemed very bad actually had nice consequences? Share your stories in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe. Hit that bell not to miss the next videos. Likes are greatly appreciated. And if you shared this with your friends, I'm happy. Have a good day. Have a good